I got involved through a performer named Joe Mulligan, who's my dad. I think it was actually my first experience with improv was the Sunday night improv jam when I was, 6 years old or something like that. I was a raffle boy in the Sunday night improv show. Yeah, I remember those are incredibly fond memories. I mean, I remember watching it and being like, that looks like the most fun anyone could have. This is a bunch of adults playing make-believe. This is great. How do I get involved? Where do I sign up? My dad did it, and then I've been doing it in some form or another since I was a kid.
Not unlike, some shopkeeper kind of passing the shop on to his son and him running with it.
So it can feel very almost medieval in terms of just practicing the trade that you're
This is part do you?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
I do. There's a knob on the other side of the door.
Oh my God, you're right. Please, right this way. I'm so sorry.
The new forms they do a style that's different from ours. We did the short form, stop every 5-7 minutes to get a new suggestion. With them, it's called long form, and it's one suggestion for 20 minutes, and it's just a whole new way of working. I kind of really like it, And then there was a time we did the show down at your place, the first time we worked together. I scared stiff.
Show because I had a bunch of Herald Night friends, performers from the theater, to come over and be like, "Your dad was really good." Like, they came out for the novelty of it, of like, "Oh, a father-son improv act, that'll be cool and interesting." And they were like, "No, your dad was really good." And I was like, "Yeah." I think the magic of improv is that, as opposed to ever having played a father and son scene, last night, the one scene we did together, I was a hallucinating, wayward journeyman Oklahoman, and Dad was a hallucinatory armadillo. Was that?
Typical.
But isn't it ultimately sort of like Zeno's paradox, where before Achilles can catch the tortoise, he goes halfway to the tortoise, and then before he can get all the way to the other halfway to the tortoise, he goes 3/4 of the way to the tortoise?
It's more like Occam's razor, where they
Anytime you're working in a collaborative sense, the more you know about what that person already finds funny, I think the stronger the footing is when you start the show. We come from a really funny family, and I've been laughing with my dad for years and years. And one of the main challenges, at least in long form, is on some level or another deciding why a scene is funny. Because long form doesn't have the benefit of structure. It's very, very loose and unstructured. You kind of have to have unspoken agreement as performers as to where the comedy's coming from in a given scene. And that's the big challenge when you're like doing a jam with people you don't know that well, or you're on a team with people that you don't necessarily jive with or that have a very different sense of humor than you. You can go out there and establish the same reality, but if you don't agree on what the game of the scene is or where the comedy's coming from, that can be difficult. And that has never happened once. I think we have a similar enough sense of humor and find the same kind of things funny. And also just have that whole comedy vocabulary. My mom was a screenwriter and my dad was a comedian, and that's pretty much exactly what I'm doing with my life. Well, I always make sure to pay my way. Shut down on the weekends in Brooklyn, I will stay. Thought I planned a trip ahead, but I'm not going home empty.
I guess, maybe someday there'll be an option will come up that he and I are father and son. But again, it's when we're performing on stage together, it's a peer. We're peers. So, we can bring something of our dynamic into the performance. We can do that, but it doesn't rule what we do.